Hi, everyone. This is Angela Hartvigsen, the Fine Arts Program Specialist for the Sarasota County Schools. I'm here with James Slayton, District Athletic Director and Supervisor for PE. Today, we're going to be talking to you about secondary electives and encore, what we're calling project-based learning in our Sarasota County Schools ICANN plan. This includes PE, all arts courses, and ROTC. We hope to add some clarity for those of you in these specific areas.
Please remember, these are extraordinary times. Make sure you're in touch with your students often and maintain that level of grace and compassion with grading and communicating, as there may be several issues that are out of students' control. Remember, they may be watching siblings, worried about rent, or other issues that their family could be facing. There will be no state testing for this year, and there will be no zeros or grades below 70%. At this time, we are planning to return to school on April 15th, but as you know, that could change. But as you're planning your lessons and delivery, make sure that you're keeping that April 15th date in mind. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your classes are set up and you have an email distribution group. We've got directions here on how you can do that. You can also email your students through Blackboard if that's your method of communication or you choose to do that. You can add these yourself or have students do it as one of their first tasks.
Your initial email to students should include the kind of expectations you're going to have for them around work completion, a little bit about how you'll grade them, and other elements of learning in this remote learning situation. You need to have a deadline for their initial response of April 3rd. You want to share your contact information with them, but we really recommend not using your own personal phone numbers and using something like Google Voice or Remind, and of course, all of the other platforms that you're going to be delivering your content. You definitely want to make sure they know those delivery methods for content, Blackboard, OneNote, etc. James and I will be sending attachments to most of you before April 1st, including the plan and directions for all of the access you need for this information.
You will also want to be planning your instructional material so that you can share that weekly with your students. Beginning on that April 6th date, take a look at sharing 5 25-minute lessons at the beginning of the week, a rubric if you need that, information about your office hours, when you're going to be available to support students, and then the lesson links for each of those lessons, along with instructions on when that due date is. I think a great way to do that is those 5 lessons would be due by the end of the week. When students have completed, they would respond back through your line of communication on how they've done, on the reflection, whatever you've set up for your way to assess their completion of those assignments. And then also continue to develop those lessons as needed, whether that's videos, lesson links, whatever you have, whether it's found online or created by you. Once your classes are up and running, you'll want to make sure that you send a reminder about what should be expected and what should be completed each week. Make sure you're monitoring your student progress and learning performance and continue to communicate those office hours. You may also want to look at getting Teams or Zoom. A Google Voice account would be very big as well, as you do not want to use your personal cell phone, your personal email, or social media to communicate. You'll also want to enter grades. A great way to do that is at completion of the week after those reflections or responses have been emailed back to you. You will also receive a list of available resources that you can use to build out your curriculum, or you can choose your own.
As far as grading goes, your grade should be entered into your gradebook that you already are using and have set up, and you should be keeping track and making that current at least weekly. As we mentioned earlier, minimum grades entered should be no less than 70%. If a student is not able to achieve a 70% on an assignment, please go back with them and make sure their mastery can at least achieve a 70%. Please do not give tests during this time. You should attempt to contact your students that are not completing their assignments. At first, you should email them, and if you need to, you may need to call them. Teachers should contact their administrators about students that they can't contact or that are not completing their assignments.
During this new type of learning, it's going to be important for all of us to document our contact with those students. Please check with your school administration for guidance on how you should be documenting that contact. Class rosters from Gradebook can be printed and saved as an Excel spreadsheet. We also recommend completing your form of documentation online.
Another recommendation we have is to establish a free Zoom or Teams account. This is really useful in allowing you to meet with your peers and to collaborate with them. For example, we have some of our secondary vocal teachers that are working together as a group and supporting each other. This can be really useful and really offer a lot of support in this tricky time. It can also be used for remote instruction for your students. Both of them are pretty easy to learn and easy to set up and use. If you need help with that, contact the school IT.
This upcoming week is a planning week for you. We want to be able to respect this time, so activities have already been provided. We will be sending those to you to contact your students with. The purpose of these activities is to establish the pathway of communication between you and your students. Keep in mind, if you choose not to do that, that's okay too, but we highly recommend it, and you use this week to really prepare for the weeks ahead.
So we know that's a lot of information, but feel free to contact us with any questions you may have. We too will be having office hours, basically from 8 to 4 every day, and we'll also reach out to you during additional times to connect through Zoom. You can see our contact information below, both our email addresses and the phones that we'll be using to help you as you work through everything. Don't feel worried about reaching out to us or your colleagues. Get the support anywhere you can.
I just want to reiterate, thank you for all you do, for being flexible and supportive of our students during this trying time. We want to be able to do the same for you, so feel free to reach out like Angela said. Thanks, have a great week, and let us know anytime we can help.